Boom! We're live, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tio and the Arcane Bear. It's good to be here with you in the middle of this beautiful crypto bull market. Bitcoin back right in the center of the top of the trading range, and everything looking quite sweet and healthy. So what we're going to do, the way we always do, is we're going to dive in and we're going to take a look at Bitcoin starting on the, there's the 4 hour. Now you can see it. So we've been following this rather fractal trading range for quite some time. I think we're almost at around 60 days since the start of the primary support. 73, we're actually over 60 days. I think one of the important aspects here is to really focus on patience and understanding the macro and micro cycles. Right now on the 6 hour or in the 4 hour, we're focusing on what's really kind of a micro cycle. For those of you that have been studying with us, you will know that we love the macro cycle more specifically. I'm seeing a few of you guys say the mic is hot, so I'll go in and fix that right now. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's so weird that this program just kind of always switches up how things are working. Anyways, back to normal. So we're at the top of the middle of the trading range, and Bitcoin's finding support here at around the $54,000 area, and has currently jumped up to 56,000. Now the gain is too low. Jesus Christ, hey? Just can't win. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that, and hopefully everyone will figure out their own volume. It's always difficult for some reason. I don't know why, but it doesn't work all the time. It comes through too hot, too quiet. So anyways, Bitcoin's up here at 56,000, looking very strong, currently holding pretty much on the top of the primary support if you were to measure this almost as the trading range itself. We saw a nice quick supply test here. Ultimately, we could see a spring even lower to 52,000, although that's not where I'm leaning towards right now. Ultimately, we've been very, very bullish with every step along the way. It's quite nice to see. So when I guess, a lot of the times people are like, oh, I could have traded into Bitcoin here and got out, and bought more Bitcoin and got out here. The problem with this is most people who are asking that question are new investors and traders, and they usually don't have the skills to actually pull that off. Ultimately, why we go over these micro and macro messages is because I really want, especially the new investor, to understand the potential of taking an entry and just effectively waiting. But how long would you wait? A lot of people are like, oh, when should I take profits? Ultimately, again, maybe we'll go over this, I think, just a little more in detail here. The idea behind the HODL. If you go back, you can look at all of our videos from June, July, August specifically, and we were screaming bull market. We were really excited about this market cycle. And here you can see what's effectively a trading range. Now, it's a pretty messy one because I've been drawing all over it, but here you can see the trading range that I've just circled in blue was the trading range that we were really excited about for the breakout to occur. The secondary trading range could actually be considered this as well, which is a larger trading range. And there's nothing wrong with looking at it like this, although I do believe it is somewhat incorrect. When we go back and we look at these macros, we actually notice this kind of time and time again. So I did this in previous videos, and I want to do it in this one again too. I think it's important to kind of go over, just like when you're learning percussion, you want to repeat these cycles. So here was the previous market high and low of $1,000 to the top of the trading range, and to the breakout of the trading range around $1,000. Well, if you would have noticed, we would have been probably looking at this as a smaller trading range, as we've done with things like Band, or when we zoom out to the 6 hour, our initial entries were all made effectively at the bottom of the trading range, but there's a much larger trading range developing. And this is important to really focus on the fact that there is a macro and micro cycle taking place. So with Bitcoin, every time we get lower, we start to see the fractal nature of the markets themselves, and we see this really beautiful, I think, market cycle scenario where you have an accumulation period, and then it shoots up, and then you have a distribution period. and that's what we're witnessing to now. We're in the middle of the bull market. So here we can zoom in yet again back through 2013, and we see that same cycle and process take place, right? And a lot of the times the new investor will jump into the market at the wrong time. Let's say they jumped into Bitcoin here at $122. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I've just doubled my money. I've just tripled my money, because they entered in the middle of the bull market. And then it comes back down to $50. Like, oh my God, I'm down 60%. And they're like, yay, reprieve. And then, oh, it's down 40%, and then 10%. And then, oh my God, I'm back down to where I was. I'll sell here. And this spring moment is identified by high amounts of supply, very usually equivalent to the shakeout. Ladies and gentlemen, please do your retrospective studies first and foremost. They are ultimately so valuable for your time in learning where you are in the market. And more than charting what's going on right now today, go back and take a look at what happened in the past. There's a lot to be learned from this particular scenario. So this trading range way back here in 2013 is a beautiful trading range. And look what happened. As soon as you got outside the box, you had a little bit of a backup phase, a big SOS, hardly any backup whatsoever on the next LPS, and just a straight shot up. And the same thing happens. It draws in more market participants. The average retail investor jumps in at $600 like I did. This is the first time I started really trying to buy more Bitcoin. It fires up. I have to hold on to it to 1,000. Oh my God, Bitcoin's going to change the world. Everything is amazing. DeFi is the best thing ever. And then it comes collapsing back down. And only if you have conviction, if you know why you truly invested in something, do you continue to accumulate. And this is why the HODL mentality is so important, is because these market cycles do repeat. And we do see this fractal nature where one part of the market cycle leads into another, and then you have a much bigger trading range that is actually the finality of these smaller trading ranges that we're often charting, very similar to, again, band. So once we start to get out of these bigger trading ranges, look what Bitcoin did. It ran from $1,000 all the way up to $20,000, right? Astronomically higher. And look how small that previous trading range becomes. And that's what we're in right now. We're in a moment right now where you actually have two subsequent trading ranges, one here and the primary trading range, you could say, here as well. Very similar to what we were just looking at in Bitcoin before. And we're going a lot higher. We're going to probably, this is, with this type of bullish ash rotation, it makes me believe maybe 250, 280 is actually a pretty reasonable mindset, even though I think 120 to 150 is a much more conservative shot. If we can, again, we take a comparative analysis, this was the trading range. You have basically a nice cup and somewhat of a handle here before a breakout. We could go much, much higher. But more importantly, for those late stage investors that got in here, recognize what's about to happen. We're about to shoot up to some astronomically high number. You're going to double or triple your money, and then you're going to have a bear market. And it's going to come back down, and it's going to retest maybe 50, 60, maybe even 30,000. Who knows? We won't know until we get there. And through that course of events, you could just literally be buying and only accumulating. But the fun thing is, a lot of people are first attracted to learning, well, where the fuck am I in the markets? Either they made the mistake in 2017, or they've made the mistake now and have no idea where they are, so they end up here with us at the Arcane Bear family. So what we try to do is give everyone, especially the new investors, a leg up. Some of the more prominent traders and investors we have in the group are already doing quite well, and we're a lot of the times we're really focused on these smaller trading ranges. Number one, because we are looking for when the bull market ends, and that will be found here in these cycles, but also brushing up on the learning process that comes along with the bull market. There's only so much you can learn in a particular course of events. This new bull market cycle allows us to learn a whole lot more, and that's important. We want to constantly be growing that skill set of recognizing where we are in the markets. So as we get into these minutia portions, like we're watching the 4-hour, we're looking at these trading ranges, a lot of the times the new student wants to study these reaccumulation ranges. So they'll go ahead and they'll start charting something like FTX, which first off, FTX looks fantastic right now. But this is not where you should be kind of like earning your stripes as a trader or an investor. You should be earning your stripes. Why did we go back to synthetics there? Let's go back to FTT. You should be earning your stripes on these much larger time frames by looking at Bitcoin's history instead of its minutia trades. And you will become significantly more successful because you will recognize and start to think in 5 to 10 year formats. But It is extremely important to recognize all these different things that we study, because then you can be very confident about where and why you are making market placements and what to do when you start to see the market change, shift, and turn into a bull market. And it seems to be highlighted by physiological and psychological fear points that come from the human's moment of life. This time it happened to be the pandemic. But currently, where we are on this minutia looks very bullish, and on the macro, I believe we're going upwards of 120 to maybe even $300,000. So I'm just patient, because I took most of my entries back between 6, 9, 12, 13, 17,000. I'm just adding on a kind of consistent basis. I don't give a shit what the price is. I'm just adding because I know when the bull market ends, I'm going to be shaving my profits off pretty much anything past 80. So maybe I'll take out like 1 or 2% up here. And again, my goal, and I've said this many times, is to just make sure that whatever I need for 3 years of operating capital, I always have, because I run a business and there's people that need to be paid, and I like to plan for that by running what's known as a budget. Yay! TO is... Although I did lose 60 grand the other day, that was not in the budget. Oh no! I did not budget for that loss. Anyways, no, the point of this is I usually shave off into that bucket based off, okay, X amount of dollars every month for the next 3 years. Will I continue to maintain, grow my business, and continue to make investments in new ideas as things move forward? So if we move on to Ethereum next, and just to kind of continue this conjecture, we're watching the 4-hour minutia, but you can clearly go back and retrospectively study, and you should, what it took to get here. So take a look at the Ethereum chart. Here's Ethereum, yay! And look what it is. It's a huge trading range. In fact, it's kind of two huge trading ranges. The primary trading range that we were interested in was this one, way back here, when we started charting it and Ethereum was still at $300, and we had our first SOS and backup phase as well. The reason this is so important is when we do retrospective studies, we're continuing to grow our confidence of why we are making such big placements at $400. Right. I mean, technically, I didn't lose the 60 grand. It was what 30 Ethereum at $500 basically, right? So less, but still profit-wise, we were up much higher. So it was just unrealized gains and a loss of less. But those entries were all made way back here, and this is why they were made back here. Automatic rally, secondary test, spring test, LPS, SOS, LPS, SOS, LPS, and the continuation of the bull market. Can someone super chat him about the mic? Well, you know what, guys? It sucks that it's so difficult to keep it in check, because 1 minute it's too hot, the next minute it's too cool, and then it's too hot again, and then nobody can tell what's going on. Let's see here. We'll look at the sound settings together. Oh yeah, now it's super fucking high for no reason. Jesus Christ. Most of the time I turn my Mac on, it's way down here. Today it's way the fuck up here. Come on, Mac, make up your goddamn mind. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, and it was stolen, right? I didn't lose it. It was actually stolen. Yeah, that's a fair definition to put on the table. I didn't lose it. It was actually stolen. That's I don't know. Maybe that's a discrepancy my lawyer and my accountant will figure out when we're trying to write-offs. Okay, wait, hold on. Back to TradingView. Okay, so these larger time frames are really important because most of you, I want to understand that we were making all of our entries back here, right? So a lot of you are joining here and you're like, oh my God, why isn't it going to $18,000 today? Well, you missed the beginning part because you did the wrong thing here because you don't know how to recognize where we are in the markets. So even though you might not have time to fully recognize where we are in the markets, by the next 2 to 3 years, you will have this down pat if you continue to study. It's one of the most important things to recognize is that decade-long play. It's very, very powerful. We've already gone over Bitcoin, so keep that in mind. Nice. Avalanche looking nice and bullish. On the hour, a little bit of a smaller time frame here, but I wanted to go over something about pattern trading. So here we see a falling wedge, which is ultimately a bullish moment, and then again another falling wedge, which is ultimately a bullish moment. But this is actually a horizontal trading range, and this is often how we look at it, guys. We're looking at these horizontal trading ranges, first sign of strength, and then the backup phase, and then we're likely going to see another sign of strength, and then a backup phase before Avalanche probably kind of goes ballistic. There's a lot of really positive news for Avalanche right now, and personally, I think it's a game changer. Just my own sentiment. But these pattern trades, this falling wedge, are where, again, a lot of traders start to focus their energy. Like, oh my God, Carl the Moon says we're in a pattern trade. Nothing wrong with Carl. But I don't use pattern trading. It's very ineffective because this could break down. So I like to watch my horizontal trading ranges. I will often include these smaller patterns inside the horizontal trading range just so I get a clearer view of what the sentiment is actually trying to tell me, right? Now, I want to go over MTA and make a kind of comparative analysis here. So on the 6 hour, we can see this nice widening wedge that we talked about, and right from the spring of MTA. We're right at the bottom of the widening wedge, so I added to my positions here, rounding that out. So a lot of the times, someone's like, oh my God, I need to buy MTA because it's the most important thing ever. They spend everything all at once, and they don't allow them to average in to a position. Bull, bear, anytime. This is one of the most important parts, is that if you are new, just take your time. Don't spend everything you need all at once. Take smaller bites and get used to practicing accumulating. They'll be hugely powerful. But I think very similar to Band, we were witnessing these widening megaphone patterns. And again, this leads me to believe that we're going to see big numbers in Bitcoin. Big numbers in Bitcoin. I want to go over FTT as well, just because I really like the FTX exchange. Shout out to FTX. Go to arcanebear.com/FTX. You can earn up to 30% a year by staking your USDT or USDC stablecoins right now. Is extraordinarily high. So beautiful trading range, nice spring here that took place, big amount of supply, matches all the characteristics. We saw a nice SOS and then another secondary support test and supply test, which was hugely powerful. And I've been building a bigger and bigger position in FTX, or the FTT token, here on a day-over-day basis. I took my initial position to $32 right around the POC, and I keep adding little glints and stints as we go. The reason being is just such a bullish pattern, and from what I've seen with FTX and their previous bullish patterns, I want to be along for the rest of the next kind of steps that come out here. I will take a minute now to go over Cardano. Where did I put ADA? I thought I moved it up. There it is. Yeah, I did. Okay. So Cardano hit a nice supply chunk here. Very beautiful to see. Massive amount of supply come in all of a sudden in one big buy. I bet you this gets sold back down. It definitely does not look like the people who were playing in here were done playing. So this was kind of a big, if this was an institution, it was a very newbie institution to buy all at once. Again, let's say I've got $500,000 I'm trying to buy all at once, or like $500 million I'm trying to buy all at once, right? You don't want to just market execute. So generally what they'll do is they'll have a section. This is why you see such a prominent placement around these POCs, is because they just try to average in around a price, usually at the center of the trading range. Big supply signals like this are usually inexperienced market individuals, open exchange buying, and I don't think that this is healthy. I bet you that this gets sold back down quite quickly. Although it is a very healthy sign of strength for what might be, again, our primary support here, a trading range underneath with our buying climax here. So we're going to keep an eye on that, because they're kind of aligning. So Cardano could be forming a powerful reaccumulation pattern here, and that's usually what we're trying to look for in these later stages of the game, are these reaccumulation patterns. I'll kind of finalize by going over DOT. And again, it does look like we are witnessing another horizontal trading range take place. Here was the last one, and here's the one we're in right now. This is really healthy. I think everything looks really healthy in the bull market. I'm quite excited to watch everything move forward. Again, I've got a close eye on Avalanche because I don't know why, I've just got a feeling that it's gonna make some big waves over the next few years. So I've been watching closely and trying to accumulate more. I've made multiple more entries here to round out that 44,000. Sorry, $44 at an extra 20K, but that's okay. I'm just trying to bring that down. I'm sitting around, I think, 33. So we're right at the edge now of pretty much getting most of my secondary entries back down towards this price, which is great. And you got to remember to have firepower to be able to do that. But keep in mind, the more years you get to play here, the better you become at this type of stuff. So I'm looking for a nice clear close above the point of control right now, and a break above 35 would be fantastic. So I'm going to leave it like that. So I see that you guys are saying it was Coinbase that affected Cardano's price, and that's exactly my point. This was likely a bunch of retail, oh my god, buy the Cardano all at once because I can for the first time. This is not a healthy market signal. We will get some type of retracement, probably back to the POC, but again, Cardano has potential, so I'm interested in that. But there's just something that irks me about Avalanche where I'm like, I don't know, I think that this might be a game changer. Does anyone know anything about DeFi on Avalanche? Is there anything out there already? Yes. As a matter of fact, SushiSwap just released this today. That they are. So here's the private den, guys. For those of you that don't know, the disease of the early stage investor is often lack of education and overly emotional trading. And the best way to fix that is by joining a group of like-minded traders and investors who are all learning and educating around the same types of content and topics. So if you consider yourself to be adventurous and like trying new things, why not join the private group by joining the links down below at arcanebear.com. And I'm scrolling through the private group here. What I wanted to go over is one of the newsletter or news pieces we shared earlier, or one of the group members, Sam Skara, shared. And primarily, I guess you can actually follow Avalanche on Medium if you want to know all these updates. But SushiSwap launches on Avalanche, bringing another lead DEX to Avalanche's growing DeFi ecosystem. Since the launch of Avalanche on February 8th, 2021, smart contract activity has boomed, with transactions increasing by 1,500%. Avalanche DeFi enables the scalability of this. So SushiSwap launched on August 20th with liquidity over $4.5 billion on its platform. That is equivalent to Uniswap pretty much. They have a much better ecosystem. I mean, SushiSwap is significantly better than Uniswap in my opinion. And now they're moving over to Avalanche slowly here, one step at a time. So you can see that the liquidity is moving to Avalanche because it just offers a better service at a cheaper price and new features that Ethereum doesn't have. So if you want, definitely go follow Avalanche as well. Because they are making constant updates. Decentralized gateway to Orion protocol is being added. Covalent is being added. Here's the SushiSwap news. Immunify, again, helps secure over $5 billion in funds, is coming to Avalanche. So TrustSwap, Jewel Wallet, BlockNet, Simplex, Frax. So for those of you in the US that have been asking about buying Avalanche, Simplex, I think, is the answer. That makes it a little easier. So go check that out as well. Yeah, so I'm super amped about Avalanche. Because remember, guys, it's basically, it also has the Ethereum virtual machine. So everything that runs on Ethereum runs on Avalanche, no problem. So yeah, definitely try Simplex if you're in the United States and want to buy. What a horrible company name, but anyways, try the new on ramp here. Simplex is EU licensed, so maybe it won't work for United States residents. I'm not sure. It's too bad they make it so difficult for US residents. So I'm a big fan, very bullish of Avalanche, and yes, there are lots of DeFi things currently moving on as well. I actually personally think Aave and Wi-Fi are more likely to move to Avalanche than they are to start running on a layer 2 solution. But I'm just making conjecture at this point. There's no proof for any of that. I'm just talking straight out of nothing. One Harmony. Yeah, a lot of these are from our older basket. We're not going to go over any of that stuff today. I wanted to keep today's episode brief. I think I went over everything that I wanted to cover. So from that moment, give us a thumbs up if you like this content. Also, remember to go to any of these links below. Follow us on Twitter, definitely for sure, because I like shit posting. Or well, I don't actually always do that, but I've been trying to get better at being a comedian. We have S and X in our portfolio as well. So you can check again. Just join the private group is probably easier. We're working on posting all of that content frequently. So here we go. If you got vaccinated, you probably do not own Bitcoin. And here's CI. Oh, poor little CI. I unfollowed you. The funny part is this is me literally learning how to troll, and it worked. I trolled this guy. Unfollowed. Don't care about you. You're sure I'm the one that got hurt? Yeah. Poor little CI. Bye-bye. This is literally what this type of posting is for. It also got 80 likes because it's funny. People like CI don't know what jokes are, and they probably live a pretty poor life. Anyways, follow us on Twitter for more of me trying to get people to unfollow me. And make sure, again, you follow us on Instagram. This one all the way to the left bottom here. YouTube all the way to the far right here. Subscribe to the channel if you are new by going to the little right-hand side, clicking on that notification bell. No, Avalanche cannot be bought on Uniswap. It is not an ERC20 token. Yes. Don't do that. If there's something that says AVAX on Uniswap, don't buy it. It's a fraud. And I guess, guys, for those of you that want to know, I'm probably going to make a vlog about the $60,000 getting stolen through Tri-Roll. So for those of you that have asked, that have reached out in support of what's happened, I'm just going to probably make a vlog to share more of my thoughts because a bunch of you have asked, and I like talking. So it won't be a live stream, but I'll probably produce a vlog and share with you guys where it's at. Leave your thoughts, your questions, your comments down below. Again, I'm really grateful for your guys' support. Let's see here. Oh, there's one or two super chats. Can you check VeChain? Tony says. Sorry about, I didn't see these. Okay, so Horatio, I guess maybe I'll finalize here because you guys asked and I didn't recognize it. Two people asked for Horatio says, can ETH to BTC chart? I still think that this is useless to some degree. Personally, guys, because remember, I used to chart ETH to Bitcoin all the time, and then it just started making no sense, and it became a worthless chart. Trying to plan a trade around that chart has just been a waste of time and a waste of focus and energy. Whereas in the US dollar charts, we've gotten perfect chart reading. So why would I want to fuck with that? Why would I want to fuck with what works pretty much perfectly? But I will, because you asked, and let's see if we can make some conjecture around it. Personally, again, I think it's a waste of time for the most part. I've seen it be a waste of time every time someone does it. So I feel like pretty confident about that. But let's see here. Ethereum to Bitcoin on Binance. That'll give us enough data. So there's a few key things I know already. Now, primarily, we did go over in one of our episodes, one of the things I did like about the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, which is that it shows us previous areas of support. Because everyone that has a lot of Ethereum is taking profits into Bitcoin because they're smart enough to know that, Bitcoin's actually our monetary layer. Ethereum is definitely not. But anyways, the point of this is, this looks like fucking garbage randomness to me. Now there is a point here where we have been trying to make conjecture about where were we? Yeah, it was back here, right? Like here we were in September with what? Is this a trading range? Like, was this the trading range? And these are the SOS and the backup phase? Maybe. But I don't see any correlation here anymore. It's completely gone. Back in 2017, there was a high degree of correlation. Here, I just don't see it. I mean, is this the trading range here? Like, it's very confusing to me. And we're like, and this is the spring? Against Bitcoin, again, that supply has been, it's very sporadic. And I think the reason being is because some of the world's biggest players are not really messing around with trying to chart against Bitcoin yet. They're charting against US dollars because that's how they measure alpha and all of these big funds. And those people have billions of dollars and the people charting in Bitcoin probably don't. But that will change. I think that will change over time, but I haven't seen it change yet. I see nothing of value in the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, personally speaking, aside from potential points of support for as Ethereum sells off and then often goes back into Bitcoin, which we've seen multiple times across multiple coins as well. The last one someone asked for was VeChain, and I'll quickly go over that. So here, I think in general, nice widening megaphone pattern we had gone over. Nice to see the breakout continued after we drew this. The volatility here, again, this is why you want to learn to make entries at the pandemic, because this little circle I have here, this is where the pandemic started. But for simplicity's sake, let's measure from the pandemic to today. 4,000%. Okay, that's great. That's outperformed Bitcoin. So VeChain has outperformed Bitcoin, at least from a dollar to dollar basis since our spring. But effectively, you want to make your entries at the spring. And more importantly, you want to recognize these widening megaphone patterns, because if we had enough data here, what you'd see is an SOS, an LPS, SOS, LPS, and then a breakout. And we've gone over this time and time and time and time again, that this is what a bull market looks like. This is how you take advantage of it, and the profits are enormous when you get it right. 4,000, up to 6,000% on VeChain. On the smaller time frames, it looks like you're probably going to see a new trading range form here soon, where you'll have a big distribution moment, and it may have actually already started to happen now. You may see it do this, and then it will come back down here, and you'll see that, or maybe even lower. I mean, you could make a conjecture that you'll see even lower. But again, if I hadn't already entered a position at the primary trading ranges, I wouldn't be taking a position here unless I was just like, I want absolute exposure to VeChain. I'm going to start making buys no matter where it is, because I need exposure to this, because I'm like craving it or something. But I'm definitely not craving exposure to VeChain. This rising box, it will probably break down here soon. And then I would look for a trading range to form before I took an entry. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. Steele and the Arcane Bear, thank you guys all for joining us today. Again, give us a thumbs up. We'll see you on the next episode. Oh yeah, and follow us on all these social media channels below so I can try to troll you. Because if I haven't upset you yet, I'll get there eventually. I want to treat all of you equally.